2020 budget with the department heads to see if there's any place we can wring some money out of it to lighten the load. But thank you for asking me to be with you. We can talk about anything you'd like to talk about.
Sure. Well, when we originally asked you to come be a speaker, you were new incoming mayor, so we thought it'd be a good chance to introduce you to the community. So if you want to just talk about yourself a little bit, and then of course we're all curious kind of where the city stands with the COVID emergency. So if you want to talk about that as well, I think would be a good topic.
Yeah, I sure can. Okay, about me, I'm third generation Michigan City. Some of you may recognize the name. My grandfather was a baker. He started Parry's Bakery over on West 10th Street. The first bakery was directly across the street on 10th Street from the fire station. At that time, it was Garfield School, one of our elementary schools. When my dad came home from World War II, he went into business with my grandfather. And after my grandfather retired, he opened up second Parry's Bakery at the Eastgate Shopping Center by the water tower, and the third one at the South Side Shopping Center, Cool Spring and Franklin. Born and raised here, went to Elston High School, played baseball for Red Devils, went to Purdue University, where I got my degree, civil engineering technology, and did my time in the service, 6 years, 1968 to 74, U.S. Navy, Vietnam era, obviously. And I've traveled, my professional career has been traveling around the United States and up in Canada a little bit, building oil refineries. That's, for some reason, inexplainable reason, I like doing that kind of stuff. I worked for 5 years before getting involved in public service over at the BP refinery. Used to be Amoco on that expansion that they did. I traveled all around the country, and when the torch was passed to my generation, when my second parent passed away, I decided to come home, which was 2006, and seeing how the city was ratcheting down, I felt that I could possibly help to change that. I got involved in public service, ran for council in 2012, was elected councilman of the 5th Ward, which at that time went from Cool Spring Ave on the south to Springland Ave on the north, and from Carroll Ave on the east to Vale. In 15, I ran for mayor and it didn't click. Almost had to leave town. What are you eating there, kiddo? It sure looks good.
I only get a short time for lunch. I'm sorry.
And I thought I'd give it one more try, and here I am now. My aspiration, it hasn't been my lifelong dream to be mayor of Michigan City, but being third generation, living here and caring as much as I do about the city, I would really like to see it turn around. My idea of a legacy is not building great big buildings with my name in the vestibule coming in. It's to raise the income level in Michigan City, to bring some living wage jobs, particularly light industry, because we've always been a kind of a blue collar town, which there's nothing not to be proud about being blue collar. We need blue collar jobs in this country. We need them severely. I am, in addition to being a college graduate, I'm a union carpenter, local 599, Hammond, Indiana. I chose to be a member of 599 rather than 1485, which is LaPorte, because 599 is the industrial area, the steel mills and the oil refineries, which I have much more experience in and prefer to be working in. I'm married. I have three kids and 4 grandkids, and a 5th one on the way. I don't know. I guess that's about it. I'm open for any questions.
Can you talk a little about the state of the city, given the coronavirus crisis right now?
Yeah, I sure can. When this thing started in March, it was March 12th, I was called over to LaPorte to attend a meeting that the LaPorte County Commissioners scheduled. And they were going to be the central command of the COVID virus. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we got questions. I see the little icon there. And we have pretty much taken care of ourselves because the demographics of Michigan City are different than LaPorte County. Our position on the shores of Lake Michigan, along with all of the traffic that we get from southwestern Michigan and Illinois. And we're doing very well. The incident rate in LaPorte County has been the lowest of all 4 of the region counties, which is a tribute to Michigan City, the city of LaPorte. I communicate regularly with Tom Dermody, the new mayor of LaPorte. Tom and I work extremely well. We help each other out. The LaPorte County government, I have a good working relationship with. We've been very fortunate in Michigan City. We have, I believe we still have just 1 death from the COVID virus. We, in City Hall, in our 360 employees, we have no one that is quarantined right now, either self-quarantine or that we've had to send home. The executive order that I issued, which has been complied with very well. I really salute the people of Michigan City. I appreciate them. There's a fair amount of grumbling, but you're going to get grumbling on anything. But our goal is to minimize the exposure, keeping the social distance at what it should be, keeping everyone at home, and the response has been extremely good. Our restaurants are doing better than they expected. They're surviving, which is what we're trying to do to get through this thing so we can start to get back to normal. A few of the actions I've taken, I closed the Lake Michigan beach because as the weather gets nicer, in conjunction with the curfew, because we were all young once, and I remember when I was a youngster
Not that
teenager,
Josh is an expert at all,
it was a great
but when he looked at it,
walks on the pier at night, beach parties and stuff like that. And so it naturally is a place of high concentration of young people. And even though the young generation is not nearly at the level of risk that the older generation is, they can still contract the virus like anyone else. And there have been some young people that have passed away from it. So I feel it's my responsibility to protect the community as a whole. The golf course, I opened up and then I closed it again. The reason I opened it up initially, I felt really bad closing the senior center, but I felt it was necessary because it was a very popular place and it was a focal point of a lot of our seniors' daily activity, and them being at the highest risk group, I felt I had to minimize their risk of exposure. And so in conjunction to try to give them an avenue to get out, I left the golf course open, but it wasn't that long that our golf course became inundated with requests for tee-off times from southwestern Michigan and Illinois. And so I was forced to close that. I'm going to take a look at opening the golf course back up for Michigan City residents only and see how that goes, because we need to be able to get out. It's vital. Just a half-hour walk outside can change your whole day, your emotional demeanor, your physical health. So I'm going to try to do everything I can to keep people in a positive frame of mind because that affects our health so much. I put a requirement that visitors to Michigan City from areas that have a higher incident rate than we do, specifically Illinois, to protect our people, because we do have a lot of residents up along the lake, and the people that live there year round, they're part of our community, and I'm not concerned about them, but the people that are snowbirds that travel around the country, or they reside at their Michigan, their beachfront places strictly when the weather gets nice. Illinois is still very struggling, and that's all part of what I feel is my duty to protect the people of Michigan City. I've been told that there have been several sightings of state of New York license plates that some people have. I have friends around the country from my career moving around, but at this point in time, we have to be an island. We have to buffer ourselves so that all of our people stay safe and healthy. I guess that's pretty much it. Our police department and fire department doing very well. We had only one incidence of quarantine firefighters and policemen. Everybody tested negative. It resulted from a wellness check that after the check was over, we found out that the individual that our people checked on, our first responders, had the virus. I've been in close contact and cooperation with Franciscan Hospital. My controller, Yvonne Hoffmaster, has given me the freedom to buy PPE wherever I can find it. I'm very experienced in personal protective equipment from my career in construction. So I know that I'm buying legitimately manufactured equipment, and I have shared that equipment. I provided it to Mayor Dermody for his people's protection in LaPorte. Several times I provided it to Franciscan. As long as my supply holds out and I'm able to get more, I will supply any entity in our area that needs it. And that's pretty much it. I'm very pleased at this stage how well we've done. I'm quite concerned. I made a comment on WIMS radio this morning because my last press release was misinterpreted by the WFM news people that I was going to stick to my guns with my executive order despite whatever the governor says. And I was offended by that because I said that in my comment on Rick Federica's WMS program this morning. That was incorrect. What I said was the governor is talking to us every day, sharing his thoughts and sharing his assessment of the virus, where it's at, and his thoughts for what he may do. And when the governor advanced his end date for his executive order from May 5th to May 1st, I said that I because he talks to us every day, I am not going to react immediately. I'm not one to do knee-jerk reactions because 50% of the time they're wrong. Before the May 1st expiration date of the governor's executive order, his current executive order, I will assess the situation, and I will be fully compliant with what Governor Holcomb wants because of my respect for our governor as a leader, the principles of respect and proper conduct toward people in leadership roles. And I will be fully compliant, but right now I am looking at things that are going on. I did also make the statement that our situation here in the northwest corner of the state is much different than in the Indianapolis area and down south because of our location and because of what our natural resources in our tourist trade. So I'm taking all those things into consideration, but I will fully abide by without any objection to the governor's guidance when he removes his executive order. That being said, I can't think of anything else, so fire away at me.
Well, we appreciate everything you're doing to keep us safe here in Michigan City. Does anybody have any questions for the mayor? And just make sure you unmute yourself and then introduce yourself before you ask.
Oh, I got one from Lance Warner here. It said it popped up and then it went away. Maybe we can make it come back.
I can read it here. It's how much money is the city losing from blue chip casino taxes? How will this impact city operations?
Oh, boy. Unfortunately, I have to say that that's an area that I'm really quite concerned about. We're losing revenue, our revenue from blue chip at the rate of just under $1 million a month. I've stayed in communication with Ms. Brenda Temple, the general manager of Blue Chip, and she's quite concerned. Our revenues from Blue Chip basically stopped at about the middle of March, and we have been the reason I was late to our meeting right now is that we've met with our third group this week. We met to talk about their budget and if there's any areas that we can draw money back in. We met with fire on Tuesday, police on Wednesday, and today we met with central services because we need to conserve everything we can. If this ends fairly soon, we'll be okay. If this thing ends, if this thing lasts into September, we're going to have major issues. We're not going to be broke. We're not going to go bankrupt, but all of our reserves are going to be gone. I'm looking at various options to head that off. Right now, we are in the process. We're going to receive some additional money from the federal government to our community development block grant, the CDBG fund, which we're looking at. We have not. I was hoping to have a teleconference with HUD this week so they could give us the guidelines when this money is going to be flowing to us, how we're going to be allowed to spend it. A lot of it will be spent COVID related. And I've taken a look at the one of the funds that we've had that has not been very extensively depleted, our Promise Scholarship Program, which has just under $4 million in it. We looked at our financial commitments to students that are currently involved in it. We're going to stand by our commitments through graduation of all the students involved. But the amount of participants in the program has not been very high, just a little over 60, and we're going to there's some money available there. I'm going to discuss that with the council and see what we can do to help our small business, to help our resources for shelter for the homeless, for people who are out of work. We're going to do everything we can without having to reduce city services. There is a group in Michigan City that is fairly left in their thinking that has contacted me. They feel that I should demand that Blue Chip open up their hotel and allow the homeless to stay there. They feel that they've said that I should order all of the banks that carry mortgages in town to forget their mortgages, or pick them up. Requests that are just impossible to do. We're doing everything we can. It's going to be a tough road. I have no idea when this thing is going to end. What people forget, we as Americans have always had such tremendous freedom, personal freedom to do what we want to do anytime, anywhere we want to do it, go anywhere. And we just can't do that in this crisis. And it's emotions are getting stressed. Angers are getting, people's temperament or angers are getting thin. I have a police radio in my car, which is essential to stay in communication with my department heads. I have one here in the office. You just can't hear it because it's in the other room, and I turned it down right now, and one at home. And I will say that I have no less than every 2 to 3 minutes do I hear another call coming in, a domestic situation, that someone is been pushed beyond their limits and they're angry. They're doing something that requires a policeman to come by and address a situation. I've gotten the statistics from our police force as far as the number of domestic calls they've gotten are substantially up. The number of guns that they've taken off the street since the virus pandemic started are much higher. When this thing first came out, our immediate reaction was the health scare, which I was very concerned about, as I should have been, as a public official, as everyone was. And it didn't take me long to realize that as the federal program came out for additional monies, the economic stress dropped way down. But as we all know, that first PPL, Paycheck Protection Loan program, came out, that the money was gone in just 8 days. And I knew, and I knew that the economic stress would ratchet back up. And at this stage, both elements are still there. I think the health threat has diminished, but the economic threat is rising rapidly. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about that we don't come apart at the seams, and we have chaos and fighting and just an overwhelming surge in crime.
Mr. Mayor, this is Jim Wellborn.
Yes,
Do you have any
yes.
contingency plans for how to reopen the economy?
I've thought about this extensively, and I'm going to start meeting as we get closer to the May 1st date with our restaurateurs in town. They're not going to be able to go from 0 to 100%. I mean, that's obvious, because we all look at, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I want to make sure it's not a train. We want to open things up, but when the day comes that the restrictions are taken off, it's not going to be business as usual, because COVID-19 is still going to be there. It's still going to be out there, and I don't want to be at a spot where we're on the backside of the curve. And I'm going to watch very closely what happens in Tennessee and Georgia, Florida, the several states that have just opened things back up. If a lot of what happens throughout the rest of the nation will depend on what happens in those states. If they're successful in not seeing a surge in this, if their number of infections continues to go down, then that'll be a real good sign, and I think we'll follow suit. If it goes back up, then there's going to be some hard decisions made. What I'm thinking about right now with our local restaurants, let's say a restaurant that has a fairly high population of customers at one time, a large dining area. I would think of something like occupying every other table, which then you're 50% full. Uh, a nice night out with a drink and an appetizer followed by a dinner, and then you leave, should be like an hour effort to where they take reservations on an hourly basis with leaving a few minutes to clean the dining area between patrons and gradually ratchet it back up to 35 to 50%. And then as the numbers, once the numbers get really low, then get back to business as usual. There's still all kinds of scenarios going around. The conspiracy theorists are alive and well out there saying that this is something that was intentionally inflicted on us by the Chinese. And it's very easy to throw numbers out that are very convincing. I think we're moving toward getting this thing under control. We're constantly every day learning about this thing. So that's my plan. I will open up the beachfront. I will open up the golf course. But the social distancing is so hard to control. We have roughly 90 police officers, and they can't be everywhere at the same time. I've always been an advocate of neighborhood watches because they offer so many more eyes on the street, eyes in the neighborhood all around town than our 90 police officers have. But I'm going to try to open it up as much as I can. Right now, next week, I'm going to, at the Board of Public Works meeting, hopefully look at up and down Franklin Street and other streets where we have restaurants and coffee shops and businesses that are conduct their business in a matter of minutes to 15-minute parking. Because in some areas of town, people are parking and are utilizing the spots all day, and it's really hurting these businesses where 15-minute parking keeps the traffic moving. They can get more patrons in and out, and it'll help to ease everything. That's about the best I can tell you right now. I'm not going to open it wide open because I'm too afraid that the outcome could be something that we're very unhappily surprised with.
Thank you for the feedback.
Hi, Duane. It's Matt Kubik.
I'm sorry?
Hi, it's Matt Kubik.
Oh, hi, Matt.
One of the things that's distressed me about the national figures is the high percentage of African American and minorities that have been affected by the virus. And of course, given the demographics here in Michigan City, that's a concern as well. Have we seen any reflection of that in our local circumstance? And then how would we respond to help assist that portion of our community? I'm gonna mute myself again.
That's a tough one, Matt, because we know that in the African American community that there are some health elements that we do not have in our Caucasian group, a sickle cell, things like that, and with existing health conditions, people are more susceptible. I think I haven't seen any numbers on our African Americans in Michigan City, any statistics. I think it's time to take a look at those numbers. After our gathering here now, I will get together with Mr. Mazzoni of Franciscan, see if he can provide any numbers. And I would take a look at establishing a test location. We have one right now in the former St. Anthony Hospital site. And for members of our African American community that are older, that don't have the mobility or the transportation, establishing a roaming crew that could offer tests at home. those are my thoughts on that right now, Matt, but thank you for putting that on my radar scope. It is something with 30% African Americans in Michigan City that we definitely need to protect our neighbors. We're all Michigan Cityans, and I don't want to lose any one of us.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, this is Father Reverend Dennis Carroll.
Hi, Father. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And thank you for the good work that you're doing. And I realize there's a lot of struggle and anxiety and worry going on. And if there's anything that I can do for you, it was a pleasure to meet you, by the way. And you just feel free to let me know. I've been doing a lot of counseling in this area. In fact, I had my own episode of PTSD because of 1953. And so, but anyway, so this is another epidemic that I'm just staying home and kind of afraid to go home. So I know what that fear is. And I want to thank you for reaching out and doing the job that you're doing. And I'm praying for you, and may God's blessing be upon you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Mayor.
thank you, Father. It's good to hear from you. I'm glad that you're doing well. You are one of the threads that hold this community together. The service that you do, I just can't thank you enough. I can't find the words that are appropriate to thank you as much as I feel you deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Pat Boy. Hello?
Yes, Representative, how are you?
Okay, I didn't know if you could hear me. I have a question. Have you had any contact with the prison to see how things are going there?
No, I haven't. I heard just this morning that there has been one case of infection at ISP here in Michigan City. I left the Westville situation to the city of LaPorte and LaPorte County. I will be checking in with the superintendent, Mr. Neal, this afternoon, because they've been doing a lot of work around City Hall, his troops, which I appreciate. And I can give you an update, if not by the end of the day on that, by tomorrow.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm having a hard time getting information on it. I know Westville has been like a big subject because they've got a whole lot of people that are
Yeah, it's really
affected.
unfortunate, the incident rate at Westville. Trying to think of how it happened is a little bit difficult because the visitation at Westville facility, from what I understand, is not as open as it is at ISB. And it's just hard to figure out. I'm waiting for Indiana Department of Correction to make a statement as to what they conclude to be the source of it. And I think we can learn something from that.
I have heard that there was brought in by prisoners from Plainfield that were transferred in at the beginning of April. I don't know if they can confirm that yet, but there were like 4 or 5 prisoners that were brought in at the beginning of April from Plainfield, where they already have it.
Well,
So
everyone
that's a
is
question
real
about-
tight-lipped about this, understandably, because we don't want to create any more hysteria than we have.
Right.
I will be checking in with Mr. Neal this afternoon, and I will try to get as much information as I can.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Call in user number 3. Are you there?
Are there any other questions for the mayor? If not, Mr. Mayor, you're welcome to hang on for the rest of our meeting if you'd like. If you have pressing things to get to, we understand. But thank you for spending time with us today to connect with us on all those concerns.
Oh, it's no problem. Thank you for inviting me, and And because I was late getting into the meeting, if it's all right with you, if you have confidential business, I'll check out. Otherwise, I'll just hang around in case another question would come up. Because I know with me a lot of times, it just doesn't come to me at the moment. And a few minutes later, I'll say, "Oh boy, I wish I had asked that." So I'll
Oh,
hang
no,
around
yeah,
if
you're
it's all
welcome to
right,
stay.
in case
It's
anything
not
else comes up
confidential.
that you want to ask me about.
It's not confidential, just tons of fun. So you're welcome to stay. And actually, we always invite the mayor of the city to be an honorary member of our club. So when you're ready to join, we'll be happy to have you as an honorary member.
I will be there. I'm honored that you asked me. I truly am. Rotary Club's been a cornerstone of Michigan City as far back as I can remember. So thank you so much for extending the opportunity to me.
That would be 19.
We'll be in touch with it when you're not so busy.
Started there, Mayor.
Excuse me?
So the club was started in 1916 in Michigan City.
Well, I have an older brother that unfortunately passed away years ago, but I can remember when he played baseball in the senior league of Michigan City back when IC was a main source. He played year after year on the Rotary Club team. I remember his green and
That's
white
awesome.
jersey.
Mayor, I would say, this is Major Becky from the Salvation Army. And there's a lot going on here just to help those families who are in need. And the other folks in the club may be interested in knowing too, that we're still seeing 300 to 400 families a week in need of assistance. And just because so many of them are unemployed, we're letting them come and get food every week right now. And we're seeing at least 300 families a week. For a while, we were seeing about 400. And it's just been amazing the number of people who have never sought assistance before, who are really in need right now in Michigan City. And we're here every Tuesday and Thursday of every single week, making sure people are helped.
I've noticed that, Becky, that I drove by your facility today, and I saw we had our emergency management people out there. My wife Barbara and I were just blown away the night that you had us over for dinner. I was so impressed with your facility. What you're doing is just for Michigan City and our people is just incredible. I can't thank you enough. If you need any help, I've handed out food. I did that one weekend. I'm going to be handing out food this weekend. There's a couple. Where is it? Notes Saturday. I think 2 Saturdays in a row. About 4 or 5 of our restaurants are putting together box meals, and I'm going to be there with them helping out. I can wash dishes, which my wife Barbara will attest to. Every once in a while, I get in a little bit late, and my penance for that is washing dishes. So anything you need done, I can do it.
Well, this week is Volunteer Appreciation Week nationwide, and we do have some great volunteers at the Salvation Army. So we're very grateful for that. But it's interesting just to, I'm kind of the one out in front talking to the people and just hearing their stories just really touch your heart, and talking to folks is important. And hearing their stories is just, it has a huge impact. However, my N95 broke today. So if you have any more N95s,
I have
I'm the
better
one
than
talking
that.
to everyone.
I have better than that. I have N100s. And what that means, I'm giving those out. Those come in bags of only 5 rather than 20. But the higher the number, the more efficient the face mask is. They're a little bit more trouble to put on because the N95s all have elastic bands where you just slip it over your head and it fits into place. Where the N100s they have the little filter in front, and they have drawstrings where you straps where you pull them up tighter, and there's like a little silicone seal around the inside over your nose and down around your mouth that provide you a better seal. I will bring some of those over to you. I have a couple bottles of isopropyl alcohol that I can spare for you for cleaning up. you know, it's interesting. Life is interesting. A lot of, in a lot of ways, in a good sense, in a lot of ways, otherwise. But we need to have compassion. There's not enough of that that goes around. In this world we live in, with a little bad luck, any one of us could be homeless. And we need to keep that in mind. You know, I hear so many things on on the news on a daily basis that the majority of Americans, we've gotten so extravagant, we live 3 paychecks ahead of financial disaster. And when you think about that, if you get paid bi-weekly, 6 weeks without an income and you're broke, you know, we hopefully we will come out of this as a stronger nation. And there's lessons to be learned. So I think we need to be truly sympathetic and empathetic to our neighbors that are without homes. And I feel that way to the bottom of my heart. Everybody needs a little good luck.
Well, Mayor Parry, I just texted Chris to try to get you on the schedule over here for our food pantry to help out.
Oh, absolutely. That's great. And Chris will
If
do
you're
it.
hanging around, then what's that?
I said Chris will do it, and he's bigger than I am, so I do what Chris tells me to do.
So Mayor Perry's going to hang out with us. If there's any other questions, we can add that to the end of the meeting. But in the interest of time, we should move on to our Sarge program, who is Susie Vance is our Sarge today.
Yeah, I don't want to get in the way of your program, so please go ahead.
Thank you again.
You bet.
Can people hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we all hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
I can hear you.
all right. So does anybody have anything burning for the order that we need to hear about?
That's my meeting.
Is it appropriate to ask a question for
Yeah,
the order?
sure.
Okay, because when I have you all together, Sister Petra from Franciscan has asked a question, and I wanted to throw it out to you guys. You don't have to answer it right here, but if you want to use the chat to tell me the answer. And I did my Sarge money. I hope I did it correctly. I think I did. I got a receipt, so I'm official.
I love her.
There is a Franciscan employee who is looking for an affordable house or large apartment to rent for her and her family in Michigan City. She wants to move to a safer neighborhood. And so if anybody has any suggestions that I can pass along to Sister to pass along to that employee, I would be most grateful.
Okay. Everybody.
Write that down.
Anybody, this is Pastor Carroll. Is there anybody that could possibly bring me over a couple masks? I'm really petrified of going out at this particular time. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can someone bring me some masks, 2 masks, if possible, because I don't see I'm afraid to.
You got him. You got him. You got him, Father. I'll bring him your way.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Cindy, you want to add anything? Okay, so.
This is Jessica. Susie, this is Jessica. I just want to interrupt. I just got a message from Dahlia. I don't know if that went to the group or not. She was asking if we're still collecting books for the prison, and if so, where to drop them off. The last I heard, there was a huge outbreak of coronavirus at the Westville State Prison. So I'm thinking, I don't personally want to drop them off there. So maybe if you just want to collect them at home right now, and when it's safe, we can make another donation to them. Or if you don't want to hold on to them, then by all means donate somewhere else. But I think it's best right now if we keep our distance from that building.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. If you guys feel adventurous and want to seek it out on your own, but as a club, I think maybe we should hold off on making at least the donation to the Westville Prison at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Great. Okay. So I have a quiz unless somebody else has something that they would like to say. All right, hearing none. My quiz is as follows. First of all, does anybody know how many states have to ratify a vote by Congress to amend the Constitution? So it's not 2/3, pay a buck. It's 3/4. 3/4 of the states. And Congress passed the amendment, the 19th Amendment of the Constitution, which provided that women could vote in what year? And then be careful, because Congress passed the amendment what year?
1920. No, right to vote.
Okay, do you know, Jessica?
Are you asking me because I don't know?
Okay. How about Mary Larimore?
I definitely don't know, Susie. Thank you.
All right.
Somebody else,
Okay.
give somebody else a try.
Just so you all know, it was 1919. And it took until when for 3/4 of the states to ratify that amendment?
It's not been ratified.
1920.
Yes, great. Pat, you win. That's good. Okay, but did that allow every woman in this country to vote?
No.
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 Okay, that's also correct. And the reason was that in 1924, the Indian or Native American today Citizenship Act was passed by Congress. That meant that Native Americans were going to be able to vote as soon as 3/4 of the states ratified the amendment, which meant that women who were Native Americans weren't voting, and men weren't either. But when did that Indian citizenship become ratified by 3/4 of the states and become the law of the land?
Oh, I didn't.
What?
I understand that. I think she's.
I didn't hear that.
Getting toward you.
Okay, I'll give you the answer. It was 19.
I know. I know.
Nothing matters.
All right, let's go back. Mickey, do you know the answer?
No way.
All right.
I can't, every other word gets cut out. Am I the only one who cultural?
You're the only one I'm asking.
Background noise in there that are cutting in.
Okay, Matt Kubik, do you know the answer?
Hold on, I'm muted. Hold on, I'm muted.
Not anymore. You're good.
Oh, unmute, mute. All right. No, I don't know the answer.
All right. I'm going to give you the answer. 1962. It took 1924 to 1962 to give Native Americans the right to vote in this country.
Wow.
And with that, that is the end of my summer program, except that I would hope that you will all help us celebrate us women on August 18th, because that will be 100 years from the date we were entitled to vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next thing we're
We
going
had some
to
community.
do, Jessica says she has to do something, so I'm going to take over here. And
Our food pantry starts at 1, so I have to run. Thank you, everybody. This was a great meeting.
all right,
Bye.
I'm just going to check the three projects that we talked about at the last meeting and see if anybody got anything with them. The first one was to print off encouragement cards and items for nursing homes and the elderly. And I know I've printed off 100 cards. I haven't gotten them over to Salvation Army yet, but I'm trying to get them over there. The problem is folding them. That's the issue. But has anybody else printed off any encouragement cards? Or have you gone over and put some money in to donate for gifts to give to the elderly or the first responders or anybody we wish to do it to? I'm just saying that because I want just to remind you that this is what we're trying to do and see how we're coming along with it. The other thing was we were going to make masks for Northwest Indiana healthcare people. Has anybody done any masks? Anybody want to step up and say, yeah, I sold some masks? I see that Pat's got one on. Did you sew any other ones, Pat? Debbie?
I would like to let you know that the Rosedale products in LaPorte actually switched from filter making and started making some masks for us. So they're very cool and professional looking. And I just wanted to give them a little quick shout out for their mask making. They're made of the material that they normally use for their filters. So they were, and I learned a new word, hydrophobic, polypropylene. I only learned hydrophobic. I still stumble over the second word, but shout out to them.
Okay, thank you.
I've got one. I have one finished. I have 65 more in process.
What was that, Pat? I'm sorry.
I have one finished and I have 65 more in process.
Wow, good for you, Pat. Anybody else? I see Jim's wearing one. You making those kind of masks, Jim?
Nope, it's just from my old woodworking.
Okay, the last
this is Cindy from Ivy Tech.
Donations and showed you how you could get online and donate to the food pantries. Just a reminder again, that's still available. Just click on donations on our webpage and then click on food pantry and you have be able to come in and figure out which one you want to donate to and get some money. We've got some money for it, but not a lot. So I'd like to see a little more if we can. All right, that brings us to Queen of Hearts drawing. And with this, I'm going to turn it over to Jim Scott by making him the...
All right, I guess I hit share.
All right, Jim, wait a minute. The screen's coming up.
Okay.
Okay, can people see Jim's screen?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Right,
randomize and see who wins the draw, whose card gets or whose ticket gets drawn.
All right, I hit share and now I'm hitting the random. And I'm going to hit randomize and see who comes up as number one. All right, Deborah Adam is
Wow.
number one.
Tatum, all right, yay!
And I believe we're,
What draw card she's going to draw?
she was number 68 on our list in the
Okay.
sequence of donation. And I believe that came from our anonymous donor of one for every member of the club.
Nice.
Is that 63 or, well, maybe it wasn't, but maybe Deborah did donate that, but Jim can tell you for sure. All right?
What about the card? You're gonna get the card up there, Jim?
What card?
You got to draw the card. But you gonna draw the Queen of Hearts or not?
Well, nobody told me about a Queen of Hearts. We randomized a number and number one comes up.
Yeah, but then go to the little thing that lets you draw a card.
Oh my goodness, Jimmy, you didn't outline that. Okay, where is that list randomizer? I think we better try this next week because I don't see it.
All right, Debbie, we'll show you which card you drew next week.
Oh, it'll be a wash with anticipation. I could draw a card if you want. Would that help? If I drew a Queen of Hearts, would I win?
That's called a draw.
$379.36.
All right, next week, next time.
I thought it was just draw. Whoever come up as number one was going to get the winnings, James. That was my understanding.
No, that's okay. We'll get it done next time.
Enhancements I didn't know.
You want to see?
Two steps, just like regular. You draw the winning ticket, and you go and draw the card.
Look at that.
Yeah, if you could only find it. Number of cards, deck configuration.
There should
Yeah,
be
it's going to
random
take me
button
too
down
long
there.
to get to
You can
that.
see a deck of cards.
And it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in and rub my leg down. It was straight, and that box of hair come back up again.
All right. Well, Debbie, like I said, we'll go ahead and get your card next time.
Jimmy, I just did it, and it's a two of hearts.
It's a two of hearts. Oh, too bad.
So she doesn't win. I was going to give it to her.
Sorry.
Oh, close. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank
All
you.
right. Are there any last questions before we end the meeting?
Stay well.
Yes.
Stay well and
Again, thank
safe.
the mayor for coming in and was very thoughtful of his speech. And for right now, I guess that is. Thank you for participating, and the meeting is adjourned.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all.